I'm Rantasmo, and One Day at a Time needs more gay. There is something uniquely comforting about a multi-camera sitcom. A joke every 20 seconds, everything always neatly resolved after half an hour, everyone's always lit really well. There's even something sort of reassuring about laugh tracks. Artificial as it may be, there's a sense of community with a multicam sitcom that you don't really get with other shows. And when the show suddenly gets serious and the laugh track drops out, it somehow makes that moment all the more impactful. Here's a demonstration. Topical pop culture reference. Human trafficking. Okay, so maybe there's a reason I'm not a sitcom writer. Netflix has already capitalized on the appeal of sitcom nostalgia with Fuller House. And their revival of One Day at a Time, Norman Lear's classic sitcom from the 70s and 80s, is in my opinion a fair bit better. It is very good at making you laugh, and it is also very, very good at making you cry. The premise of the original One Day at a Time kind of seems like old hat by today's standards. A single mother struggling to raise 2 children on her own. But at the time, this was one of the very first single divorced mothers on television. It was also one of the first shows to deal with second-wave feminist issues, for example, sexism in the workplace. The new show is very much in the same spirit as the original, but with several notable changes. The themes are even more overtly feminist and incorporate some more third-wave intersectional notions.
Mansplaining is
when a man explains something to a woman that she already knows, but he acts like he's teaching her. Does that make sense?
The family is now Cuban-American. The household now includes a grandmother played by actual goddess-made flesh Rita Moreno. Schneider, the pervy superintendent, is now Schneider, the doofy but well-meaning hipster landlord. And the show itself is a lot more serialized, with much of the first season centered around the events surrounding older sibling Elena's 15th birthday celebration, or quinces. And one of those events happens to be Elena's coming out as a lesbian.
When I think about love, I see myself someday loving a woman.
Elena herself is a really great character, a budding social justice nerd who bucks traditional gender norms. At this point I feel like I have a pretty bad case of coming out story fatigue, but One Day at a Time does offer a fairly fresh take on a familiar story by exploring the complex reactions of Elena's family members, specifically from a Latinx and uniquely Cuban-American cultural perspective. For those who don't know, Latinx is a gender-neutral way of referring to people of Latin American descent. I like it because it's inclusive of non-binary people, but also because it kind of sounds like a cool robot. Rita Moreno's character is highly religious and initially has misgivings about Elena's coming out, but she comes around shockingly quickly.
And when it comes to the gays, the Pope did say, "Who am I to George?" And the Pope represents God. So what? Am I going to go against the Pope and God? Who the hell do I think I am?
Elena's brother Alex accepts it pretty much without question. The main character Penelope, played by Justina Machado, is a bit more nuanced. She loves her daughter no matter what and wants to be supportive. But just like with any big change in one's life, she needs a bit of time to adjust.
Your heart is okay. You just need a little time for your head to catch up.
Of course, it wouldn't be a coming out story without at least one blatantly homophobic reaction. And in this case, it comes from Elena's father, Victor, played by James Martinez, whom I know best from the 2010 gay romantic comedy Bear City because I am me. Victor's rejection of Elena's identity is difficult to watch, but in the end it serves as the series' emotional capstone, ultimately bringing the rest of the family closer together. This series is really quite good and extremely bingeable, so if you have Netflix, I strongly recommend watching it. It's really smart, really funny, and it has a whole lot of heart. It's the sort of show that makes me really optimistic about the future of sitcoms. That wasn't a joke.